Blender for Noobs.
Hello, this is Dan Nobles, and welcome to Blender for Noobs, and welcome back to the tutorial on designing your own car. And this part of the tutorial, part 6, we are going to be continuing with the modeling process. So I'm going to go ahead and right off the bat save file, save as, and I'm just going to name this part 6, and I'll leave it modeling underscore continued. Make sure I have that saved for you. Okay, so we're going to continue on with some of the details of the car, and what I'm going to start out with is trying to get the very front and rear section where the headlights and taillights would go in the bumpers, and see if we can get that squared away. So tab into edit mode, choose vertex, select, and so you want this point here to come in a little bit more, I think. And then on the bottom, you can see that this needs to come in and maybe even up a little bit. I don't want it to look too squarish. Oops. Okay, maybe something like that. And okay, let's see what we can do for our area where it's going to be headlights. So I think what I'll start off with, the headlights going to be right in here, and I didn't really want to do a wraparound type of headlight with directionals, but I think probably because of the way this car is, I wanted this front to curve like this. I think there's no getting around that. And besides, it'll conform to the way cars are designed today anyway, so. All right, so I'm just going to choose Control R, add an edge loop, and just kind of guess where the headlights will start here, somewhere in this area. Choose faces, and I'm going to choose these two faces, and let's see, before I do that, I want to model these a little bit more. GG, move this down a little bit. And I think I'm going to move this in a little bit. Except not that way. Okay, and just what I'm doing is just looking at this area right here and just trying to get it kind of straight and make sure the flow is looking pretty nice. So once I have that the way I want it, which I think I do, choose E, extrude, click off of that, and then S, and just going to scale this in a little bit like so. And you can always look at your mirrored side to see how it's looking and what it's doing. And just looking at this, the size of this, it's quite large, so just to scale that in even more. Yeah, it's looking pretty weird the way it's. Yeah, that's just too big for the headlight area. So let's see. I think lengthwise it's maybe okay. It's just too thick. So let's see if I can get away with just moving some of these vertices instead of creating entire new geometry. And I'm just choosing GG here to move this geometry along the existing geometry. Okay, so now if I select faces, Not that one. Yeah, that looks a little bit better to me. I might even, I'll stick with that. E-extrude, scale down. Yeah, it looks much better to me anyway. So E-extrude, and I'm going to click off of that and just pull that in. Go ahead and pull that in quite a bit, and that'll be like the area where we're going to put the lights into. And while that's selected, I'm just going to choose Shift D to duplicate those faces, bring those back out, and we'll use that as the basis to create our lights. And I'm kind of wondering about this side geometry, if I should pull that in at all. I think for now I'm just going to leave it as is. So while these are selected, I'm going to choose E-extrude, click off of it, and just extrude those outward like so. Maybe a little bit like that. And I'm just going to L, select that entire piece, and just bring it back in. And this will serve as like at least the holding place for our lights. I don't know, I may not use that existing geometry, but it's kind of an easy way to create something in that slot there. And it looks to me like these faces need to be flipped. So I'm going to choose Mesh, Normals, Flip Normals. Okay, yep, they were flipped. So that recalculates them to where they need to be. You can also use Control N to do that same function. Alright, so I'm going to use these as the lights, and I'll probably add some geometry here to have chrome around that, or maybe on the outside. Or maybe move them in a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm kind of looking at the bumper area, or where the bumper would be. So I'm going to select these faces here, and actually go back into Vertex Select. Let's bring this one back up a little bit. I think I want this to be a little bit more squarish. Maybe not. I don't know. It's really a preference thing. Okay, back into Face Select. Let's select these three faces. And I am going to see what's going to happen if I E-extrude, select off of that, and S-scale. But I don't want to scale along the Z, so S-Shift Z, and scale this out a little bit. No. And let's see, actually, I want to bring this in a little bit here. Something like that, I guess. Alright, so let's select these three faces. E-extrude. Scale a little bit inward like so. And then E-extrude. And I'm going to move this out. And I'm actually going to have a real live bumper here. I don't know if I'm going to make it chrome. It might be kind of neat to have like a chrome bumper. The old chrome bumpers, were very outset. I mean, sitting on the edge, but maybe have an inset chrome bumper. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see. So select vertices here and just GG, and I'm going to move this up a little bit, get rid of that hard edge. I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not, but I will find out. So now I need something here for like the front grille. Actually, I think that bumper is like too thick is the problem with it. So let's see if I can change this a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. So for the front grille, I am going to select this face here and choose one front view, extrude, and scale down a bit like so, and do an extrude, select off of it, and just pull it back in. And I'll probably end up deleting this face, or these two faces here, but it'll give us an area there that we can create a grille. In fact, I'll go ahead and do a Shift D, duplicate, and bring this forward like so, and that can like serve as the beginnings of our grille. And I think probably what I also want to do at this point, come in here and select these two vertices, and I want the grille to be more flat. Something like that, possibly. Or it doesn't have to be flat, but anyway, more flat than what it was. Okay. So that's how that's kind of looking right now. I'm going to do a quick save, Control S, and come over to the back of the car, and let's do our rear lights and stuff here, and rear bumper. So let's see what I have. I'm going to turn on occlude so it's easier to see what we're doing here. I think I'm going to use these two as where the lights would be, but it's a little bit thin there. So I'm going to choose vertex select and choose these edges, GG, and just move those down a little bit. And since I did this, choose this, GG, and just move that down along that path a little bit, so it gets a little bit more relaxed. Okay, and face select this area here, extrude, S to scale inward. And I don't want this this to go completely across there. I want them to be separate. So in order to do that, I'm going to undo that, Control Z twice, and Control up arrow, and I'm going to come back to the mirror modifier and turn clipping off temporarily, and just do a extrude, scale in, and you can tell when you do that, it will extrude off of that center point instead of trying to stick to it. So let's scale that in. Choose SX to scale on the X. Bring that in a little bit, and then I'm going to move it back over. So right about there, and while I'm here, I'm just going to turn clipping back on. And Control up arrow, extrude, and I'm just going to extrude inward like so. And what I'm going to do for the tail lights, at least what I'm thinking about right now, is I'm not going to make your conventional tail lights. So today I'm going to make the double round tail lights that you've seen on older model cars. So the front of the car is going to have the, the more up-to-date type of headlight, but the rear of the car is going to have kind of a stylish, might even say antique type of taillight to it. So that's where the taillights are going to go. Go ahead and do something for this bumper. I'm going to choose these two. Extrude, scale down, and maybe just pull that out instead of scaling again or extruding again. Something like that. So there is our front and rear kind of done as far as the rough-in modeling. So I think for the hood in the trunk, go ahead and create something for that. I'm going to just, easier just to see select this. So there is our hood, but of course we need that gap that's going to be around the hood. So I'm going to 7 top view and E extrude, and I'm just going to scale in very slightly. So we want just like a barely just a gap there, but of course you can see down towards the front and back here, it's too much of a gap. So I'm going to choose vertex select and just choose these vertices and GG, pull them forward. By the way, the GG tool is not something that you really hear about anywhere. But it is extremely helpful when you go to move around your geometry, and you need to do it within the plane that you're working in. So GG there as well, bring that in quite a bit, and then this one's a little bit too close, so I'm just going to, move it out a little bit if I can. So there is now the outline of what will be our hood. We need to do the same thing with the back hatch. So I think that was, oops. This is going to be our hatch here. Still have too much of a angle there, so choose vertex select here. And turn off occlude again so I can get that back geometry there. And just move that down a little bit. Get more of a nice slope on that, hopefully. Back to face select. Select what will be the hatch. And 7 top view, turn on occlude, and yep, I got another vertex here I want to move. I know I'm being picky, but hey, when you're designing your own car, you got to be picky. So you want it to look exactly like your dream car would look, or at least close to it. Okay, so E extrude, scale down. In fact, I'm going to come out way out here to get a finer scale. S to scale, and scale down. So this looks okay, but this time I need to move these. So I can even do edge select here. Select these edges, GG, and just move them in a little bit. Unfortunately, it's moving those points in, so not a big deal. I can GG those as well. Now, it's not going to cooperate, so I'll just use the G tool to move it in, kind of where I think it should go. Okay, so your gaps for where your hood and your hatch is going to be, your trunk, or if you're in England or South Carolina, your boot, North Carolina. You don't want these gaps very, very big at all, because they will show up glaringly if you make them too big. So adjust these as well. Just G moving these. And you can always, adjust them later if it doesn't look right in the final render. Okay, so there we have the outline for our hood and our hatch. And just looking at this, the look of this car now, I think what I'll do also is perhaps bring these in a little bit. Kind of flows back like this. I'm not sure if I like that yet, but we'll find out. Okay, I'm going to do a Control-S quick save. One other thing that I probably should do here, since I'm doing things like the hood and hatch and getting those defined, is get the door defined, and also this side window area defined as well. So without any reference images, it's pretty much you have to go by what you think it's going to look like. And I think that I'm going to use this as the back of the door, and probably, maybe this as the front of the door. We'll see. But anyway, I'm just going to move this vertex. Yeah, I'm going to GG move this vertex over to somewhere in here. Same thing for this one. And something like that. That will be the back of the door there. And then for the front, I'll use this one here, GG, move that down about right there. Move that in like this. And let's move it some more. The front door is usually pretty close to the front of the bottom of the windshield, I think. Probably need to look at some references of some other cars to make sure it's kind of conforming to what it should be. But right now, this is my door area. Actually, these are windows, but that's the door right there. So hopefully that'll work out. For the window area, I don't think I like this curve here. What I'm going to do is select these, GG, move these back. I can get away with it. Move them back up a little bit. Turn off occlude so I can get all these. Okay. Have that like that for right now. So we have kind of this, it's a two-door car, so we have this front here and we have this windshield back here. But I don't quite know how I'm going to have this windshield going. I think probably come out at an angle here. And in that case, I need something to Control R, put another edge loop right in here so that I'll be able to make this window kind of wrap around a little bit, which will be something that I don't think is seen anywhere also. So I'm making like innovations on the fly in the automotive industry. and you should be too with your car. So I've created this edge here, so I have all this geometry, this extra geometry that's going to be created, but I don't really need all this geometry over here. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect everything that I don't need, or that I'm going to use on this side. And you can do that with the C select and holding down the middle mouse button, or you can also use the B select tool if you want to, and hold down the middle mouse button and deselect that way as well. It's just another way to deselect. So with that done, this is all the geometry that I don't want anymore, so I'm going to choose GG and move it right up into the closest geometry. You can go this way, or if you prefer, go that way, just as long as they're right over the other points. Now what you've done is you've actually created double vertices along that edge. So if you left it that way, it would cause you problems. You'll have a big crease in here once we do the subdivision surface. But in order to get rid of these, we just choose A, and A again to select all, and choose your W special menus and remove doubles. And you can see up here it removed 13 vertices. So when you look at these now, there's only one there, just like there's supposed to be. And usually not a big deal, but you wouldn't believe, or you'd be surprised probably to know how much geometry you just eliminated. Because once we do the subdivision surface, all that geometry gets multiplied quite a bit. So it just saves on your the geometry of the car. Now, of course, we have this ugly looking triangle here, but I'm okay with having one triangle on my car. I'll probably have a few more, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything at all. I'm always seeing stuff here that I want to fine tune. Okay, so we have that. I think for this area here, I need to come up somehow. So let me move this back up a little bit, and I'm just going to, let me move this up like so. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not. Okay, yeah, maybe something like that. And then maybe bring these back out a little bit. Oops. Okay, now we can work a little bit with the seams of our door. Hopefully the door is how we want it to be, and hopefully I don't change it later, because if I do, that'll screw up the seams. But I'm just going to choose Control-R, and right along here, create a seam right there. Again, I'm going to deselect everything that I don't want to use here. Choose GG, move it right into the other vertices there, AA, W. Remove doubles, and it removed those excess vertices. So same thing for here, Control-R. Make our seam here fairly close. Deselect the ones that we want. GG, move the ones we don't want. AA, W, remove doubles. Okay. So, I mean, when you do that sometimes, when you get rid of that excess geometry, you can actually create problems for yourself. Like this triangle right here might create a problem, but if it does, that's something that I can fix later. trying to relax these vertices a little bit. Okay, so now we have the seams for our doors as well. Not going to do the seams for the window area because we'll be creating those when we create the actual windows and the windshields and the back windshield. So for now, this part is done. And in the next part, what we're going to do is get even more detailed. And in the next part, we're going to be applying the subdivision surface. So, you know, the car will start to look a lot more like a car, hopefully. So I hope you're enjoying designing your own car. I'll see you in the next part of the tutorial. Thanks for watching.